This episode of the Gamerheads podcast is brought to you by Seven Bridges Premium Gourmet Yum Yum Sauce. Enhance every bite with our savory blends of flavors, perfect for meats, vegetables, and crispy treats. Whether you're dipping, drizzling, marinating, grilling, roasting, or snacking, Seven Bridges Yum Yum Sauce takes your culinary experience to the next level. Get yours today and make every meal a gourmet delight.
Hi, I'm Celia Schilling from Yacht Club Games.
Hey, this is James from Megacat Studios.
Hey folks, this is Matt, aka Stormageddon from Reignite and the Fun and Games podcast.
This is Stephanie from the Boss Rush podcast and the Boss Rush Network.
Hey, this is Mark and Keon from Bunte Avond.
Hey, this is Sebastian with the ProNerdReport.com and the Single Player Experience podcast.
Hi, this is Chris.
Mike.
And Garrett from Daylight Basement Studio.
Hey, this is Baron J67 from Level 1 Gaming.
Hi, I'm Jacob McCourt from the Left Behind Game Club, Crossplay Conversations, and Video Game Trivia.
Hey, this is Todd Mitchell from Code Right Play.
Salutations, this is Mike Carroll from Stroll Art.
Hey, this is Jeff Moonen from Fun and Games Podcast.
What's good, y'all? This is Adam from Respawn Aimfire.
Hey, this is Patrick from the Backlog Odyssey.
Hey, this is Rune from Runic Codes.
Hi, this is Andrew from Spalato Bros.
Hi everyone, Jill Grote here from the Indie Informer.
Hello, this is the Crypt Master, and you're listening to Roger you're listening to Roger on the Gamerheads podcast.
And welcome to another episode of the Gamerheads podcast. My name is Roger. Along with me is a good friend of mine, a co-host of the Crossplay Conversations, the host of Video Game Trivia, and one of my roommates at PAX West, Jacob McCourt. Thank you so much, Jacob, for joining me today.
Roger, thank you for having me. It was a great time. Honestly, it went so well that a lot of us are now saying, should we get an Airbnb for PAX East?
We should. We should. It'd be funny. We called it the Content House. But we didn't.
I made no content in the house.
We made no content at all.
So we shouldn't call it a content house next time because maybe then we'll make content in it.
That's true. That's true. We should just call it like the hanging out and staying up really late house.
Yeah, I'm too old to stay up as late as we did and have beers and have a beer at like 9 p.m. That's just asking for trouble, you know?
It was just one. That was the thing.
Yeah, just one.
You're like, do you want a beer? And I was like, you know what? Sure. And then it was like 3:00 in the morning, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna fall asleep. This is not good. But it was fun. It was really fun. Mm-hmm. I realized this morning as I was thinking about our podcast and our conversation here today that that was the one that I was talking about how we roomed together. I was thinking about that. That was the first time I roomed with somebody in like over 20 years. So congratulations, I guess.
That's amazing. Do we get married next? Is that what happens after that?
I think that's the next step is that then we get married.
I think we're content married now.
We are. That's true. I said our vows. I think you said your vows, and now we're, and we gave a hug. No kisses though.
No,
not that I'm against
for
that.
Your wife.
For
your wife only.
Oh, that's true. But at PAX West last year, there is a picture of me leaning in to give you a kiss.
Mm-hmm. We
didn't really kiss.
That's what happens.
It was a staged kiss. It was not a real kiss.
Nope.
But it certainly looked like it was going to happen, but it didn't. Mm-hmm. So if those pictures roaming around online, it did not. Not that I care, honestly.
That was generated by AI, actually.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm like off the rails already. Welcome to.
I have that effect
show.
On people, Roger.
Well, welcome to the show, and we have a very special treat because you and I have been playing Final Fantasy Tactics. You just said it. What is it?
The Ivalice Chronicles.
The Ivalice Chronicles. I'm super excited to talk about this game because you played it at PAX West as well, right? Did you?
Yeah, both of us had the opportunity to check this out as a part of Square Enix's offerings at PAX East. And then, like you said, Square Enix provided code for both of us to check this out. So obviously stoked to talk about it with you.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, I'll just dive right in. So there's only so much, and we wouldn't give away spoilers anyway, but we can't really talk about spoilers, and that's okay, because I wouldn't talk about spoilers anyway, because I want people to experience this game, because it's really good. So if you're here for spoilers, I'm sorry, you can, like, go away right now. Or
Go
you can
find
continue-
another podcast.
Yeah, or you can continue to listen to this one and say, you know what, that was pretty good anyway. But let's just jump right into it. I guess the first thing I would like to talk. I have a list of topics. We'll just kind of meander through these topics. But if there's stuff that you want to talk about too, I mean, feel free to jump in. But I think one of the things that I think people get a little intimidated by is the tactics piece of the game. I don't think this was all that bad. I guess what my thought is, like, what was there something in the game mechanics that hooked you the most in regards to, like, the tactics and the gameplay itself?
Yeah. So a little history about me and SRPGs. I'm more of the Fire Emblem school of like strategic strategy RPGs. I've touched some other stuff over the years, like your Banner Sagas and etc. But I've never finished a Final Fantasy Tactics game. I played Advance many years ago, but bounced off.
Yeah.
There are some subtle differences, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. But the thing that hooked me here is the job system.
Yeah.
I think if you, and Roger's nodding because it's probably the same thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing with this. I found myself between battles almost getting more excited for the time between battles to experiment, because the job system is not linear.
Yeah.
You can kind of skip and hop around, which with Fire Emblem, it's almost like Pokemon, right? Where you have a job class. And yes, you can pick a couple of forks in the road of how you can evolve your character. But with this job system, you can create a hybrid of 1 to 3 jobs sort of at your leisure, which I really loved. So I spent I spent so much time messing around with the job system, which is something I didn't think. I thought I'd be all in for the battles. And to me, that was secondary to the job system.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think that was the one thing that I didn't expect. And you know, here's the thing. I know I played this a long time ago. I don't remember much about it, but that was
Would
a
you
long
have played
time
the
ago.
PS197 original or the
Yes.
PSP War of the Lions remake?
No, I played the original. Yeah, I played the original. But I don't remember much about this game at all. Again, it was the 90s, right? Like, that was a long time ago.
Yep.
There's a lot of things I don't remember. The two games that I do remember playing the most were Final Fantasy VII and Diablo, were like the two things that always took my time during the 90s. But I do know I played this game. I just playing through it again, I was like, oh, some of this is vaguely familiar. But the job system, maybe I just forgot, but that took me by surprise how good it is. And like you said, the thing that I love is like I'll create a character who's like has a knight as like their main job, and then level up like their white magic so that they're like a paladin, right? And then they have the ability to do some white magic like cure and raise, but then also be a tank, which is really cool. Like, such a cool thing to be able to do in this game. And then as you unlock as you level up your different jobs, like new jobs open up. So you get to have like maybe a level 3 of like magic, black. I'm making stuff up because I don't have it in front of me, but like black magic, and like a level 2 of a different thing to unlock the time mages, right? So like new things open up based on what level your different characters are at, or jobs are at, I should say.
And like the system sort of filters you in a couple of directions, because some of the later roles you essentially have to take the more basic roles and level up to a certain point. So example, like the Arithmancer, you might not have even, because I know, Roger, you're like still...
Yeah, I haven't gotten to that guy. I haven't gotten that part yet, yeah.
So he uses numbers with respect to his magic, but with that one, I think you have to level up 4 different job classes to a couple of levels each to then even have the ability to unlock and use those skills. But like you said, the combinations were the coolest part of, of course you're going to sort of filter in one general direction, but then you can add, passive abilities, active abilities, skills, really, like you could really have up to four different jobs be a part of the composition of one of your dudes.
Yeah, it's really cool. The one thing that I focused on was leveling up my black mage so that they can learn flare right away. The one thing that I will say, and I don't mind this too much, and maybe, I don't know, you can speak to this because maybe you play differently, but I see these different jobs or the different spells or different abilities in the different jobs, and then I was like, well, now I have to grind to be able to get that. So I did find myself playing several battles over and over and over again, just so I can grind up my characters, so I can get that job and I can get that ability, knowing that I needed that, or I thought I needed that before I took on the next boss, which in some cases I did need those abilities before I took on the next boss.
My hour count, I think, ended at around 30. Maybe 30, 31. And out of that, 5 to 6 hours was grinding.
Yeah.
And I think it was two things. It was that where you want to experiment and you want to find the right combination, or you end up in the composition. So you'll have, what I'll call hero units. This is my language, not the game's language. You'll have hero units that are significant to the story that obviously you'll want to keep on the battlefield and keep using. But then you have generic dudes that you can name whatever. One of them that I had started at level 1, and I took that character from level 1, all the way until the top 6 units I would use at the end of the game.
Okay.
And you end up doing part of that grinding so you can take those characters, level them up, and keep using them. But there are a couple of difficulty spikes. You might have seen one, but there are two sort of notorious, at least one notorious in the original game difficulty spike, where there is a specific battle that is hard as hell, and if your characters aren't at the right level, there is no chance you will not break through. The nice part here is that there's an autosave feature. The original game didn't have that. So you could actually, with one save slot, get stuck and have to restart the game because there's only one save slot. You've saved halfway through a battle, you can't back out, you can't beat the guy, you're stuck.
Yeah. There was one character coming up that I do remember him being really difficult. So there's some parts I do remember, and there was one character I was like, this person could demolish my team instantly within a few rounds. I think do you know who I'm talking about? It's like,
yes, I do. Okay.
Yep. So that's why I learned Flare, because I was like, that is the way I'm going to take this this person out, because otherwise I'm going to be in really big trouble. And I will say, it's like kind of early on, not real early on, but kind of early on in the game that boss. I was level 20 when I took on that boss.
That's not high enough, Roger.
What? No, really?
I don't think that's high enough.
Oh, I took him out though.
Now, I need to ask you this question.
Yeah.
What difficulty are you playing at? Because the nice part too here is that they've added a Squire difficulty for scrubs like myself.
Yeah.
I got maybe 4 hours in, and I was trying to review it before the embargo hit, which is the last week. And so I said, I can't play this game for 60 hours. I can play it for 30 hours. And so I dropped the difficulty down to Squire. Did you play at the regular difficulty or Squire?
I dropped it down.
Yeah,
for
it's
the same
hard.
Reason. It is hard. I dropped it down for the same reason, because I knew that going into some of these battles, which is funny because at PAX I actually played on night because I was like, I can do this, and I did it. I kind of walked through that really easily. But then I played this. Oh no! Some of these battles are really, really tough. The other thing and the reason that I dropped it down too, because I didn't realize this and I forgot about this. Maybe I remembered and I forgot. There is permadeath in this game, and so if you let your characters, which I didn't realize until like one of my characters, all their hearts were gone. I'm like, that's fine. We've still won the battle. They're gone. They were gone, and I was like, oh no. Or I guess they disappeared off. Right? Once they disappeared off the battlefield. But if you're able to beat the enemy before all the hearts deplete, you're okay.
Yes.
And I lost. This is why I dropped it, because I lost a really, really important character early on who I've been leveling up. And I was like, nope, I can't live with that. I can't live with myself alone.
For me, if a character died, I restarted.
Yeah, me too.
And that's how I operate in Fire Emblem too. Because I know that the later Fire Emblem games, add more granularity to the difficulty, where it's like, hey, you can keep it normal, but you can turn like the permadeath and the difficulty are on different switches.
Yeah.
Where some players will like the traditional difficulty, but like permadeath off, where hey, if your character gets knocked out, you may lose them for a couple of battles, but they will come back.
Yeah.
Here, there's no option to do that. So you lose a dude, that dude is gone.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure that you. I restarted anytime I lost somebody.
Yeah, me too. That's actually why I leveled up as much as I did too, because I was like, I'm not allowing my team to die, not because of me, right? So I would say, like, still though, I mean, Squire's still pretty hard. There are still some really tough battles in Squire, but I don't want it to be something where I don't want people that are never played a tactical game to be shied away from this game, because I do think it's still accessible. And having the Squire level certainly made it even more accessible. But I do think it is one of the best, if not the best, tactical game out there. Because it has so many different elements. It has not only just like distance, but there's terrain and the levels of terrain and how you can plot out your characters. And that's one of the reasons I loved Final Fantasy Tactics originally, is just because of that. Like, there's almost an element of chess to it, right? And then, where do you put your characters? Where do you put, like, I now have, I mean, you always put your I always put my casters in the back. But I also have a character who has a chakra ability that can give them more mana when need be. So she just kind of hangs back with them and protects them, but then also gives them the ability to cast more mana.
And if you get shot by the occasional arrow, that's okay, because they have enough health to get an arrow hit or two. But it's they're definitely very squishy. I would agree with you and say that this game is probably, in my mind, I now say there are two places you can start with strategy or strategic RPGs like this one, the tactics RPGs. The original, or not original, Fire Emblem for GBA and Final Fantasy Tactics Ivalice Chronicles, I think, are the two best places to start if you're curious about this genre.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to ask you, so in this game, they give you both the remastered version, which looks phenomenal and it's fully voice acted, or you can play the original. Did you play the original in your playthrough at all?
No, and my understanding is you can't really switch between them because they almost act as different. They're almost like different executables in the same game, where the remake you menu into. So when you open the game, it's a menu system split in two, where it's like the Ivalice Chronicles is on the left and the original is on the right, and it sounds like the data, the save data between them is not transferable. So it's not like some remasters where you can just toggle on and off the graphical treatment and say, hey, I want new graphics or old graphics. This is a new game or an old game, but truly, I don't know why you would go with the OG.
I don't either, because that's the one thing I wanted to talk about too, is the voice acting in this game.
Yes.
I'm jumping down a little bit here, but the voice acting is so good. It is so good. This is the first game that I played where Ben Starr actually voice acted a character. He's very good.
What?
Yeah. What do you mean? What?
You didn't play 16?
I did not. No.
Okay. Yeah. Add to the list, but yes, Ben Starr is quite good in that, and he's, as Dice Darg, he's very good in this too.
He's really dark and scary. And the voicing though is so good. There's I don't know how they did this. So it's not just the voice acting, but and maybe it is the voice acting, but there's the way that they express the characters through the sprites and the pixels is unbelievable.
Yes.
The storytelling in this game is truly next level. The game opens up, and we can talk about this because it's not spoiler. It's just
this is the opening of the game.
The opening of the game. The opening scene where they're riding through the forest on the chocobos, and it's all hand drawn, and it's setting the scene setting the table for the rest of the game for you is unbelievable. It is so good. The music is so good. The setting is so good. The storytelling is so good. The beats are so good in this game. like the voice acting, there isn't one person in this that I'm like, that wasn't great. Everybody, including like just the extras that are just characters that you're fighting. Every character is voice acted. Every character, including the inn or the shopkeeper, not the inn, the shopkeeper. You go into the shop and he's like talking to you, and I'm like, what? This is crazy. This is so good. This is so good. I that blew me away.
And there's fun Easter eggs for fans of the series. At one point, there's a flower peddler who is voiced by Brianna White. Who you know who Brianna White is in the pantheon of Final Fantasy games. But Ben Starr's performance as Dice Darg, you know, you say dark, I say he's a little cunning, and the thing with Ben's performance is this is clearly a voice only. This is not a motion capture gig, but it sounds like he's treating it as a motion capture gig because you can hear the contortions of his body as he's making these long sort of narrative bits as Dice Darg, which I really appreciated. And sometimes a lead can help or hurt your title. I think Joe Pitts, who played Ramza, the main character, did a great job also. He's been in Lies of P. I would say that's his biggest video game voice acting job. Yeah. But he does a great job, and the character and the voice performance sort of matures as you go through the game, which I really appreciated. But to your point, there is no bad voice performance in this game.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And there, like you said, they could have just read lines. But it's more like it just feel like you feel it, like it is so good. There's a scene, and I don't want to spoil, but there's like, this won't spoil it. I'll just talk about like how they set this up. But there's this scene where one of the characters falls out of favor with another character, and he basically says, "I will show you what happens when you fail me." And you hear the scream, and it pans up, right? He as he approaches him, it pans up, and you hear the scream. Even the direction of that art direction, like allows me as the player to use my imagination of like what happened there, without showing what happened there, right? There's another moment too where another character is out for revenge. And he loses, and he's like bleeding out, and he's crawling away. And that scene itself, like the voice acting behind that and the emotion behind it, like I felt it. And I think that's one of the things that made this game so good for me. And it's in my contention of Game of the Year, is because there's so much heart into all the characters and they're playing. It adds a new element that we didn't have in the 90s.
I'm actually looking up as we talk right here what the ESRB rating is on this. It's T, but at times there are characters that are, again, no spoilers, are betrayed, and then there are things that come with those betrayals. And you alluded to the fact that these character models do a lot with a little, and beyond the art direction, the characters, betraying one another and things happening in cutscenes, they do so much with characters that I liken them to like little tykes, those little toys you had back in the day. That scale, they do so much with that. And it's something that I'm sure people will. It won't be the first thing they'll talk about. They'll talk about the job system, the battles, the voice acting, but they won't talk about the presentation and how. One of my favorite parts of each battle is when the camera descends on the battle for the first time, and you get the sort of 180 or the 270 view of the map. Those maps are iconic.
Yeah, they're really good. And the other thing that they do really, and maybe they did this in the original and I don't remember, but when I just noticed this the other day when I was playing, and I don't know why I didn't notice it before, but they'll do this really cool focus in, focus out thing with the camera as well, where like Ramza's talking, and he's talking to one of his opponents. There's a lot of talking. Ramza has a lot of connections to a lot of people, right? And it turns out there's a lot of things going on. But he's having this long monologue with one of the people he's going to be taking on, and it was interesting because the character he's taking on is farther away, and I don't know why I didn't notice this before, but it did this really cool pan in, just a little bit, and it panned in on the Ramza, and the rest of it, the background was all like faded out, or not faded out, zoomed, blurred out is the word I'm looking for, and then went to the other character, and it cleared them up, and the rest of it was all blurry. I just thought that was just little things like that add to that cinematographic. Is that a word? Yeah, I think so.
It is now.
It is now. Yeah, I don't know. Was there stuff like that kind of caught your eye as well?
Yeah, beyond the way that the camera kind of came down, I loved the even the small touches on the map. Maps are common in games,
Yeah.
but this one had a real. It's funny. Game of Thrones, the original novel from George R.R. Martin, came out within a year of the original release of this game.
Oh, I didn't know
and
that.
There's a very Westeros sort of vibe to the world,
Yeah.
and then the map. I think kind of. I know that people will say like Final Fantasy predates Game of Thrones, but it had a very Game of Thrones vibe to it, which I really appreciated, and the story kind of. There was a lot of parallels between those two works.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing beyond all the things we've talked about so far.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about the story and the themes, because I think there's a lot of themes we can talk about without spoiling the story itself. One of the things that I really enjoy about this game is the story of Ramza. So Ramza is noble background, but his mother was a commoner.
Mhm.
So, and in the world that he's living in, poop is hitting the fan. There's a lot of really bad things that are happening, right? And as I'm playing through this, I just think to myself, I don't know if I could do what Ramza's doing. So Ramza's trying to buck the system, and with all the things that are going on, it's really insurmountable of what he's taking on. And at times, I mean, you can feel it in voice acting too. At times you feel like the weight that Ramza's feeling through all the things that are happening. But I thought about this, and I thought Ramza, I feel like, is the only person in this whole story, except for Delita, that could really do this, because Ramza kind of straddles the border, or the boundaries between both the nobility and the common world, is right, because of his background. I shouldn't say common, the common folk, as they call it, right? And the story is really about birth and your class and where you're born and who you are, and that makes you who you are. And Rams is bucking that. Delita is also bucking that system as well. Just going about it a different way. And I just thought that was a really great story of just like he's really the only one that could do this because of who he is and his background. And really, this is right in the beginning. His father dies and basically says to him, like, you are the one to carry our name, right? Even though, he was his mother was common, right? And I just thought that was such a great moment. But I also think there is a lot on Rams. I wonder if from a storytelling standpoint, if Ramza would have felt different if he was born, if both his mother and his father were both nobility, if he would have felt differently. I don't know.
I don't think the story works if he's not. Can I use the B word on this? Can I swear and use the B word?
Of course.
He's a bastard.
He's
a bastard.
Yeah.
And so the story doesn't work without, one, that piece, two, the parallels between him and Delita. Delita being someone who just, there's an event that happens early in the game where their moral compasses fork.
Yeah.
And so without that, there's also no story. And then you bring up the importance of someone's heritage or their families to who they become. Even the war that ends up breaking out, the War of the Lions, which again, this is relatively early, it happens because of a conflict or a disagreement over who should ascend to the throne of Ivalice.
Yeah.
So this whole game is about classism. which is really fun to come out in our year of 2025.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. The one thing that I love about this too is like the story revolves around Ramza, and you play as Ramza, but his friend Delita, like he thinks he's doing right, and I mean, he's going about it a different way. And I don't want to get into it because like that is too much.
That would be
I feel.
spoilery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's in the beginning, it's their friendship, and it's their friendship that continues through the game. But there is a story. There is an underlying thing about friendship as well, and there's a part where you run into Oren. Can I think I can bring him up, right? And he is the member of the South Army, right? The Southern Army, the Black Lions, right? Are they Black Lions?
Yeah, the Order of the Southern Sky.
The Order of the Southern Sky. Yeah, the Black Lions, right? And he is one of the characters that says, like, basically like do what's right, and I just think that's a really interesting thing. And there's characters in this game that offer friendship in different ways that you just don't realize. Even Gaff Garrison, who is an interesting character. Even he provides insights to friendship and what is expected of people as well. And I just thought that was really interesting. He also, I think, calls out like the class system, right? And like the problems with it, because he points it out pretty straightforward. So I just thought that was really interesting and lovely around the story itself.
One addition on top of that again has a lot of parallels to what is currently happening in our world. The church is sort of a third party to all of this, where on paper, in front of everyone, they have their allegiances, they have their positions, but those positions are not the ones that in private they are carrying out.
Yeah.
So there's a whole other story around the church, which again we won't talk about their motives and kind of what their deal is, but another fun parallel to 2025.
Yeah. And what's, again, the thing that really hit home for me is Ramza's position in all this, and the fact that he feels like he needs to do what's right and do the right thing, and the heavy weight that he carries throughout the game. You mentioned how his voice acting matures. It's because him as a character matures through the game too. At some points he talks about his realization of like what's happening and how he was a fool for allowing certain things to happen. And there's a lot of sorrow in what happened as well. And I think that he carries a lot of that with him and a lot of guilt. And he's just an amazing character.
I would tend to agree with you. In my mind, the performances in order of not preference, but in order of like most impact for me would be, Dystarg would be Ben Starr, but that's a character he kind of lived to play.
Yeah.
And then Ramza, and then after that, I would say Greg Lowe as Delita was maybe my third favorite performance. And thus far, Greg hasn't done a ton of voice work so far. I think he's played some in an Assassin's Creed game. He's been in a Horizon, but this is kind of, in my mind, his largest game voice performance so far, and he also kills it.
Yeah.
A different type of change happens in Delita over the game, which I think Greg does a great job at selling.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. All the characters in this game are phenomenal. I guess. Do you have a favorite or favorites? I mean, outside of the voice acting piece, do you have a favorite or favorite character in this game?
I mean, for me, apart from the characters that we've already spoken about, I really loved Orlando also.
Yeah.
I think that, look,
He's a cool
I
character.
love an old grizzled vet who is there for one last battle. I'm
Yeah.
always a big fan of those. And you find out the significance to Final Fantasy in this character later in the game. I won't spoil it, but that was a cool moment to realize, that's what they're doing here. Cool.
Yeah. I love him. I do love Geoff Garrison. I think that the voice acting is very good. But then also, like, him as a character I understand where he's coming from, right? And I understand why he got to the point where he is at, and why he thinks the way he thinks. Like, yeah, well, I get that. I think one character that was the most interesting to me was I hope I pronounce their name right. Delacroix? Is that how you pronounce it? Who's the cardinal? Is it Cardinal Delacroix?
Oh yeah, Delacroix. Delacroix. Yeah.
What an interesting character. I love that character too. He was.
That's one way to say what they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
What an interesting character.
What an interesting character. But again, another character who highly revered. And has a really interesting part in Ramza's story. And poor Ramza. I'm going to say again, poor Ramza.
Ramza's surrounded by a lot of, like, Afgharian's great. Even his siblings are really good. We've talked about, Dice Darg is a brother. There's Zalbog, which is a brother. Alma, his sister. It's fun. It reminded me so much of Game of Thrones. You are playing Ramza, you are playing Jon Snow, and you're just surrounded by, siblings who, things may or may not happen to them over time.
Yeah. I think that's really a good comparison, Jon Snow to Ramza, because, like, I feel like there's a lot of similarities there, right? So. Let's see, what else do I have on my list? I feel like I went through a lot of the things.
Would it be good here to talk maybe about some of the quality of life stuff that changed between the original game and this one? So the thing we haven't explicitly mentioned, beyond the graphical treatments and the changes there, there's also been some changes to the actual gameplay itself to make it maybe move a little bit faster. So you can fast forward now through enemy turns, which is great and much needed. There's an overhead camera that's been added, because I don't know about you, but one of my biggest complaints about this game is the camera in tight spaces on the battlefield is not good. And I think that they know that. And so they've added an overhead camera. And so just between those two things in itself, I can't imagine the game without it.
Yeah. I don't know if they had this in the original. Maybe they did, but they have this ability to auto battle as well. Where you can just set your characters to say, protect this person, or heal allies, or run and hide. I used it a couple times. I found that my healers were doing things like, why are you doing that? Why are you jumping into battle? No. Don't step back. I told you to heal, not to jump into battle.
You're too squishy for that.
I am too squishy for that. I will tell you, my healers, I keep my healers in the back. Also, I worked really hard on them. I don't want them dying. I am too squishy. I have a hard time losing people under my command. But it was, a lot of the improvements, the biggest one being the overhead camera thing. I felt the same thing. I was like, I try to get this character into this tight spot, and I need to get them to that spot, and I can't. The one time that I don't find the overhead camera working is if there's a bridge over that tight spot I'm trying to get them into. Because then it's
where
just
there's a square
bridge.
on multiple different elevations. That was impossible, even with the added camera. Bad.
Because the camera is thinking, oh, you want the bridge. No, I want
under the bridge.
Under the bridge. I want that spot right there. That took me a couple times to, get the camera right, or the not the camera, not the top down, but the spinning of the camera in the right position, so I can find that place and move my character to the right spot. That was a little tricky. There was a couple times where I was like, I wish that was a little bit easier. Nothing that it was like, I can't play this game because it's so frustrating, or did it cause any of my deaths of my characters? But it was a little tricky. But that being said,
back to your point about verticality, I think that the verticality in this is the first time I've ever had as much. You can almost have like 10 tiles of elevation between your character and the enemy characters in some of the battles, where let's say there's a village with a very tall house. You could be at the bottom and your goal is not to move from north to south or east to west. It's actually just to move
up.
Way up.
Yep.
Which I've not seen before in a tactics RPG.
Yeah, me either. There was a battle where there was a character. I needed to protect this character, and I needed to climb up. You know what I'm talking about, right? I need to climb up the building to get to them, and that was hard because that building's surrounded by other villains that are on the bottom, and it's like, well, do I take them out first? I ended up sending one person up while the rest of the crew was taking out the lower characters on the lower levels, and I sent one character had more of a ranged attack to be able to defend and help fight and protect to that objective. But that's cool. That is like, you don't see that, and
No.
I can understand why, because there's a lot more that you have to add in regards to like thinking through like what's the character's moves, how the NPCs are going to move, how are the villains going to move, how are the because like there are times where you have guests on your team as well, where you're not controlling. The guests do their own thing. And I will say that too. Like that's one nice thing. None of the guests played dumb. Like like all played really well. I was like, okay, thank goodness. Like you're not doing silly things. There is an RPG I'm reviewing as well. It's a tactical RPG. I love it a lot. But there are times where like your quest is protect the guest, and the guest you can't control, and then they jump into battle and they die, and you're like, what did you just do? Why did you do that? Like my army was far away from them, so it took me a couple turns to get there. Why didn't you run back to me and allow me to protect you? No, I got this. And they go rushing into battle. Leroy Jenkins it up, and
the president's daughter from the original RE4 AI type shit. Yeah,
exactly. So I mean, I guess my last question, I mean, unless you have other topics, I have like one final thought on this that I'd like, for those that have played this before or even new to the game, but mainly for those that have played it before, like, do you feel like this is something that they should pick up?
Yes. So when this was first announced, my big question was, are you doing this as fan service to the folks who played the original game or the PSP remake in the 2000s, or are you trying to bring in new fans?
Yeah.
And up until getting my hands on it, I did not know what the answer to that question was. And I think that they do this beautiful thing where they kind of straddle both lines, where they're going to be able to, like, do I wish there was more tutorials on how the job system worked? Do wish there was a little more granularity with the difficulty? Sure. But I think that this game does a great job at bringing new players in. The thing we haven't mentioned here is, in addition to being available on PlayStation consoles, it's available on basically anything you can play video games on. So it's on PC, it's on Xbox, it's on Switch. And I think the thing that I wish I would have done in hindsight, because I know where you played it, I, in hindsight, wish I would have played it on either Switch 2 or on Steam, because this is the perfect game to kind of take with you. I always think of back in the day playing on my little Game Boy Advance SP, playing like a Fire Emblem game. That's the kind of vibe I wanted to get here. So I think that they've straddled this beautiful line where they're going to, if they just say this is a legendary story in the Final Fantasy series, which I would tend to agree with, and we've done a bunch of stuff to modernize it, maybe not as far as we should have, but we've done a lot of stuff here. If you do that, you're going to bring in new fans, and then just saying, hey, we've added voice acting, we've sped it up a little bit, and hey, if you just want to play the original on a modern console, you can do that. You're going to bring in old people, so I think or old fans. So they've done a great job at straddling the line.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's plenty here for people that played this before to come back to it and experience the story again, because of the fact that it's the fully voice acted aspect of the game makes it well worth it. It adds an element to the story that I don't know if it was there originally. Like, the story is very good, but
Mhm.
the fact that it's all voice acted and played out in front of you, like, just adds a whole element. Do you think that they're gonna, because am I wrong to think that there is a version that includes like some DLC or some additional aspects to the game? Wasn't there like the PSP version or something like that had like some
I
DLC
think
to it?
what happened is they added, they would call it like an enhanced port of the original game on PSP in 2007 called War of the Lions.
Yeah.
And I think what they did is they improved the look of the game.
Okay.
They also added the 20-ish minute of so in the War of the Lions, at least, there's like 30 minutes of cutscenes that are voiced, and the opening of this game was in the War of the Lions remake on
okay.
PSP.
Okay.
However, there's like all the major things that happen, especially between Ramza and Delita. Those are cutscenes in the PSP game where they're mostly in engine here, which I think works really well.
Yeah.
So that there's my long answer to the PSP
Okay.
version improved the original a little bit, but I think this
Okay.
takes it a huge step forward.
Okay. Yeah, I wondered if there's going to be any DLC for this game at all. I mean, I would love to explore this game some more. The story and the characters, but maybe not. Maybe
I
that's
think
not.
what I want to do is because I have one of those little fun Game Boy looking things. I would love now to go and try the Game Boy Advance game.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
Mhm.
I still have my Game Boy Advance. I should. The thing is that Tactics game, Tactics Advance, Advanced Tactics is really expensive.
Mhm.
I think it's still really expensive. I think.
Oh, is it?
Is it? I don't know. Last time I saw it wasn't cheap.
We're gonna check this in real time.
Okay, there we go.
Keep going, Raj. I'll get you. I'll hit you with the price.
So anyway, yes, go pick up this game. It's really
Yeah, a
good.
loose.
It
You
is.
can get a loose copy of this game for about $30 US.
Okay. I mean,
Mhm.
that's a little bit more than I would expect to pay for a used game, but
Mhm.
it's a good game. So, I think I used to have it, and then I got rid of it. I'm really upset with myself, actually.
That price has come down a little since the peak.
Okay, but I wonder if it's going to go
Mhm.
up now with this game coming out. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Jacob, before we head out, why don't you tell people how they can follow you and find you on social media?
Yeah, so you can find me, as I mentioned, I host a show called Crossplay Conversations. It's very, if you like Gamerheads and you're looking for even more podcasts after you've listened to everything in the Gamerheads catalog, we do something similar on Crossplay Conversations. We're mostly indie game focused, although when we get opportunities to play games like this one, we'll dive in. We've got an episode that just hit where we talk about 5 short indie games. We talk about things like The Dark Queen of Morthholm. We talk about Many Nights of Whisper. We talk about Henry Halfhead, No, I'm Not a Human, and Anne Roger. Anne Roger. And so if you like indie game focused conversations, crossplay conversations, wherever podcasts are found, and you can find me on Blue Sky. I'm at jacob.bsky.social. Just type Jacob and I'm the first guy that comes up.
Yeah.
I also reviewed this game, so if you want more words about it, you can find that at thegamingbrief.ca. Roger, thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, thank you. Go check out their podcast. I'll include a link to their podcast. It's a very good podcast.
You've been on it before, Roger?
Have I?
You have at PAX.
Oh yeah, at PAX I have. That's right, I have. Sorry, I forgot about PAX. Not this past PAX when we actually had a house.
West of 2024.
Yeah, not when we actually had a house where we could have all like hung out and recorded a bunch of. No, we couldn't do that. But no, it was really fun having you on the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. The other thing I should mention, I was going to mention this too. If you're ever at a PAX, listeners, and you want to go check out a really cool panel, Jacob does host or has hosted and hopes continues to able to host the video game trivia. I will say every time I watch you do this, Jacob, I'm like, I don't know how you do that. I don't
know how I do it either.
You are so funny and so in the moment, and I mean, you're a very funny person outside of video game trivia, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know how you your comedy and your ability to be in the moment is so good. I would just stand up there and be like, you just play off of what people say. I'm going to say this. I don't say this real often, but you are really brilliant at it. And it is a pleasure to watch. It is an amazing thing to watch.
It's very kind of you to say that. It's something that I kind of black out during the whole thing, where like it is so over prepared that and there are so few ways the deck and the questions can go wrong. Then I can just focus on what are the people saying that's funny and how can I make it funnier, and how can I make sure, because the thing that I'll say, and without naming panels or folks, but I feel sometimes at PAX the panels are just kind of one way, where some people come for one way. If you are an expert, if you are a if you're talking about a video game, that is not the time for the audience to be interacting. But look, I'm a schmuck, so and a schmuck who doesn't know that much more than the audience in front of me. So if I can find a way to keep the crowd energized and then just alley-oop some of the very funny things that panelists say, then that's a win. So I guess beyond everything that I've already pitched, Roger was on video game trivia at PAX West 24.
Yes.
And so if you want to have a good lull and you've not checked out Roger and his matching shirts with Jill Grote, then you should do that. It's easy to find on YouTube.
Yeah. And then also I did edit your video that you did at the bar. What was the bar, right? It was a bar. Yeah.
Yeah, we at West, right before you participated in the panel, we did a trivia show at a bar called Hopvine last year.
Yeah.
And so you edited a little video together, which again we super appreciate. It's
I recorded it and edited it. I forgot about that.
You did. You recorded and edited it. Yes. So we it's always wild so I get to do it in my hometown. I do it at a bar in my hometown, and it's always fun to do. And so that people are down with my shtick and wanna play around and play some pub trivia for video games is always flattering to me. So maybe what I'll do, Roger, is I'll give you the links here for the one that you were on, and then the one that you edited, so you can include it in the show notes.
That'd be awesome. So listeners, go check that out. Go follow Jacob and all the things that he does. And if you like what you hear on this show, give us a like and leave us a review as well. We want to hear what you have to say about the show. Until next week, everyone, stay safe and game on. Bye.
Bye.